Hey everybody, I just thought I would do a screencast here so you can see the calculator with this lesson. So if I take a look at this next question here, remember this one, the geometry application. I do want to show you how you can do this equation without having to factor on the calculator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just type in um, this equation right here, where it's x squared plus 25x minus 50. So right there, x squared plus 25x minus 150. And when I hit graph, all right, notice I only see this line. Well, that doesn't really help me much, but that because 150 is clearly well beyond my 10 by 10 standard window. So I'm going to go to window in this case. And what I'm going to do is my x minimum, all right, technically, if you think about it, the minimum is 0 because you can't have a negative length. And the maximum, what's the maximum length? I don't know, but if this is 15 and by 10, I can't do too much more than 10. And now my y minimum, well, think about it. My y-intercept is at negative 150. So negative 150 is really where I'm starting. What is the maximum? Well, the maximum is definitely higher than 10 because I couldn't see it. So I'm just going to try to go up another 150. Sorry. And then this says y scale. Well, do I want to go from negative 150 to 150 and count by ones? All right, I'm going to change that to 20s or 25s. And now when I hit graph, so I just went to window and changed my minimum and maximum and my minimum and my maximum. Hit graph. All right. Well, now you can see that it is right there. All right. So it looks like I found an x-intercept. All right. So if I wanted to go out farther, notice it kind of looks like it's starting to curve down there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my x minimum, I'm going to make that, well, we know it's going to be at negative 30. So I'm going to make it go out to negative 50, and just so we can see it. All right, so you can kind of see, all right, now in this case, realize I'm not trying to find the maximum or minimum. I'm trying to find x-intercepts here. I'm putting it equal to 0. So when I go now into second trace, look at my options. I don't want to find a min or a max. I'm not trying to find a value. I'm trying to remember the word 0. So an x-intercept is the same thing as a 0. So I'm going to push number 2. I can go hit number 2, enter, or I can push the number 2. All right, so now left bound. Now notice you cannot see your cursor right now. All right, because it's at negative 20, negative 250. So the cursor is at negative 20, so that'd probably be right here. Well, I don't need this negative x value. I want only this one. So I'm going to move it to the right. I know that's weird. It's asking left bound, but I'm going to move it to the right. And notice, and here we go. Once I get to positive, I'll be able to see it. See my cursor? Well, my x-intercept is where does it cross the x-axis? Right there. There's the 0. So I'm checking here. And now at this point, we wouldn't have factored this by now. So I wouldn't know that x is 5. But there I am left of my x-intercept, so I hit enter. Now it says right bound. We'll go to right of the x-intercept. All right, my cursor is now on the right side of that 0. I know it's above, but it's in terms of x distance, it's on the right. Enter, and then also guess. So I go back, I think it's about there. And notice I get the 0, x equals 5, y equals 0. So there's where I would have gotten x equals 5 on the calculator. Okay? And now the next thing I want to do is we're going to try the next question. All right, so on this one, all right, remember I had the number of customers multiplied by, the change in customers multiplied by the change in price. X is equal to the number of increases. Here's the equation. So that's the equation I want to type in. So I'm going to go to my y equals. I'm going to clear the whole equation, parentheses 1500 minus 25x, parentheses, and 30 plus x, close parenthesis. Now in this case, again, I had to change my window. If I look graph right now, I barely see what I'm looking at. And so in this case, when I go to window, all right, x minimum. Well, the number of increases, x cannot be a negative. You can't increase a negative number of times. So the lowest x value would be 0. What's the maximum number of increases I could have? Well, if they increased it you know, you could figure out this value right here to figure out how many customers they would lose. You could set this equation to 0 and solve for x, and that would get you about 60. So the maximum number of increases would be 60. All right, again, I just took 1500 minus 25x equals 0 and solve for x. All right, and that would be about 60. And then I'm going to go scale. So how do I want to count? Between 0 and 60, how do I want to count? Do I want to count by ones? I want to go by fives. All right, just because. You could do anything. You could do tens there. Now, what's the minimum? Well, let's start by putting in a 0. And remember, to find the y max, I took what would be the y-intercept. What is 1500 by 30? Now, if you're unsure and you don't want to get out of this, watch what happens. I could type in 1500 times 30 right there. And notice it does the math for me, 4500. Now, that's not what I want for my maximum. That's the y-intercept. That's where it starts. And if it's the y-intercept is 4500, and I'm trying to find the maximum, the y-intercept is not the maximum, so it's clearly going to go higher than that. So I'm going to type in 100,000 as my max, and then you can see I scaled. Let's try the going by 100s as the scale in this case. And now I just push, again, I push window, kind of did some logic here to figure out my window and my values, my max and min values. Now I push graph. And all I'm worried about is, do I see the maximum? And the answer is yes. I could even bring it back if I wanted to and shorten my window up. But now I'm going to go second trace, and I want to find number 4. I want to find the maximum. And now left bound. All right, I'll move the cursor to the left. And if I push and hold it, it'll move a little bit faster for me. All right, it's somewhere on that flat line, so I'm going to go beyond it, enter, go beyond it on the other side, because it's somewhere in that max there, enter, and now guess somewhere back in the middle, and there it is. Now again, the calculator is trying to be too smart here, so realize that the vertex is at, where's the vertex? Get rid of those. Where did I put it? Sorry, I had it here. It's there. All right, so the vertex is at that value. Let me try to get it to show up again. I'm sorry. There we go. There's the vertex, is at 15 and 50,000. Now, X is the number of changes. So 15 is the number of changes. 30 plus 15 is the price. So $45 would be the price. And the maximum revenue would be $50,625 per month. So that's how you can do it on the calculator. And I hope that's helpful. Good luck on this. Have a great day.